Let me start by saying this. I am ridiculously grateful to everyone who supports this program. This podcast happens because of you, and your backing motivates me to keep helping police officers become better versions of themselves. Thank you. Welcome to Hey Chaplain. My name is Jared Altick, and I'm a chaplain with the police department. The Hey Chaplain podcast is about talking to police officers who say, "Hey Chaplain, I've got a story to tell and some hard-earned wisdom to share." The guests on Hey Chaplain come from across the world, from the LAPD to Scotland Yard, from Canada to Cocoa Beach, and sometimes from my hometown of Kansas City. They are sharing their wisdom so that you don't have to learn the hard way. And as a patrol chaplain myself, I think that you deserve something positive and encouraging. What happens when the cop who was taking down bad guys and drug addicts becomes a drug addict for years, ruining everything and costing everything? Today, we're talking to Brock Bevell, a medically retired cop who lost everything to opioid addiction. We're going to talk about his injuries, the pain, the addiction itself, the cost of that, and Brock's recovery. If you think that your addiction is going to remain hidden where no one will ever find out about it, then you need to hear what Brock has to say. Here's Brock Bevell. Hello, Brock. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent, man. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. I just recently became acquainted with you and heard you tell your story. And what I'd like to start with is your law enforcement career. Tell me about, what you did as a cop.
7.5 years on with the Mesa Police Department. Started patrol, went to a specialty unit, which is our bike patrol unit, and then ended up moving on to our SCAT team, which stands for Special Crimes Apprehension Team. Did that for a few years, then went back to patrol. And ultimately, I was run over and sustained some pretty severe injuries, which pushed me out, ended my career pretty earlier than I had hoped for.
So tell me what happened that day.
Yeah, so crazy story, really. We worked confidential informants. At this point in time, I was on our bike team, a specialty unit. We worked street-level crimes. We were developing, I would call them kind of semi-informants.
Okay.
And to let you be aware and all your listeners so they understand the validity of this is our street-level prostitutes here in Mesa were a great source of information, especially when we're talking street level, because they knew the comings and goings on the drug activity and the crimes that were being committed in the area. So this young lady, I stopped her. She said, "Hey, I have a warrant, but if you don't take me to jail, I'll give you some information that's developing, and a truck being driven by a woman is going to show up right here. She's going to traffic her daughter in exchange for dope." And so we're like, okay, that's a way bigger fish than your misdemeanor warrant. And we set up on the area. The truck driven by the bomb came in. The drug dealer come riding down the street on his bicycle, which always makes me giggle. Bicycle came up, went to the passenger side, a brief conversation. He went to open the door. We intervened and made an arrest. We detained Bobby, the drug dealer, sat him on the curb, and mom didn't want to go to jail, so she threw her car in reverse. My right foot got caught under the tire. I go to move to catch myself and snap my ankle, and then I brace myself with my left leg, and she hit me on the inner thigh and blew my knee out.
Oh, wow.
That was kind of a start to the end of my career, trying to rehab, get back to work. But there was something that happened. I know we're going to get into my addiction story, but there was something that happened when I went to my doctor. He knew who I was. I had prior injuries from the department, but on this occasion, he prescribed me opioids. And he told me, "Hey, Brock, you're a cop. You're never going to get addicted to this stuff." So for me, that's carte blanche, I guess, because I wear this badge. It deflects all criminal element and addiction, right? So that rang in my brain for a very, very long time. So
You were immune to addiction because you were a good guy.
yeah, dangerous.
What kind of injuries have you had over the years?
Oh man, in my life or just then?
Well, let's talk about maybe law enforcement related, but I mean, if there's a really important, like, oh, I had a major injury when I was 15, I mean, throw that in too.
Oh, I played sports, played college football, had major injuries to my shoulders. I've had multiple shoulder surgeries. I blew my hand out in a fist fight as a police officer. They had to reconstruct my hand. It's still all jacked up. I'll tell you a real funny foot pursuit story that happened a few years earlier, which is my first big injury in the police department. It was a beer run, and a guy had stolen 224 packs of beer, and he's walking down the street. And my newly developed mind as a police officer was like, all right, not knowing that all I got to do is get the beer back and take it back to Circle K. I stopped in the middle of the road, lights and sirens. I'm like, hey, man, come here, you're under arrest. And he's like, nope, puts the beer down and takes off. Well, like I said, I pursue this guy.
Right, right.
The job was finished. Why don't I just take the beer and take it back and be the champion, right? But I'm like, I got to go. The guy's a criminal. And so foot pursuit, I'm kicking out 1 Charlie 51 in pursuit. I'm running. And this guy was wicked fast, man. We came to a side yard, a wooden fence. He puts 1 foot on that fence, catapults over and it takes off. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. So when I did it, I jumped. And when I landed on the other side, my left foot got caught and stuck in a hole that he missed.
Ooh.
And I take my next step, my foot's in there and it blows my knee out.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm on the ground, like, oh, man, I'm making noise. And my buddy, Lance Hevlin, bless his heart, he passed away from cancer, is full pursuit. He's like, I got you, Bev, I got you. He goes and plants his left foot on the fence to jump over. The fence breaks, collapses. He flies back and breaks. I think he breaks his back, jacks his back up pretty bad. So he's on one side of the fence with a broken back. I'm on the other side with a blown out knee. He's like, all right, Bev, you okay? And we're talking back and forth. We're both wounded. So, and the guy got away.
Over 48 cans of beer.
48 cans of beer. So
not worth it. Nope.
My primitive brain kicked in and
hey, you were being a hero. That's all right. Yeah. So you've had football injuries, you've had law enforcement injuries. What you're describing is multiple surgeries. You've been on pain meds before, and you go in for this time you get run over, and the doc says, "Well, it's okay. You're a good guy. You're a cop. You won't get addicted."
Correct.
Tell me what happened.
So what happened was the nature of my injuries, the department retired me. And I don't know if you've ever gone through, and so hopefully police officers that are listening will understand. You go into this boardroom, there's like 5 of your peers who you've served with, listening to your story, reading your medical results. And my doctor finally said, hey, you're unfit for duty. I can't get your knee where it's at. I can't get you back to work. So we have to, and the department felt like that we needed to medically retire you. And for somebody that's living that kind of lifestyle, that was the biggest blow of my life. And the hard part was they're like, okay, you're retired, but tomorrow we need you to come back and turn in all your gear. And think about it. That's all your policies, that's your weapons, that's your badges, that's all the supplies they gave you over a career. And the hardest part for me was turning those keys in because at that point in time, I lost the ability to connect with my team. My community was severed at that point. Yeah. And so I didn't know how to handle it. So I lost my identity in that transition. And from going from having these surgeries, taking the opioids, losing my team, it was just the perfect storm for me. And I realized that because of the depression, I really did. I fell into a funk because I lost that group of guys that I was rolling with, right?
Yeah.
And I lost my identity. Once you lose that badge, who are you? Like, you put so much time and effort in maturing that individual that once it's taken away, I didn't know how to adapt. So the more opioids I took, the better I felt internally. Like those thoughts and ideas and concepts of, where's my team? Why haven't they reached out to me? Why haven't they called me? I was just in the shooting with those guys. I was in foot pursuits with those guys. We were arresting bad guys. Where are they at? And for me, that was a disaster, spiraled down. So yeah.
Yeah. You had good friends on the department, but did they do a good job of keeping up with you? It sounds like they didn't.
Well, and now, a little more mature, I understood that they just continued doing their job. They had to be battle ready, right? They had to show up to work the next day. They had to perform. But once I left the department, I didn't get a single phone call from a single person saying, "Hey man, thank you for your service. We love you. Is there anything we could do for you or your family? How are you doing in this transition?" I got not one phone call. And it kind of pissed me off, man. It really hurt my feelings, to be honest with you. I didn't understand the transition, right?
Yeah.
So
How old were you?
oh man, I was 27, 28 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
But imagine the transition from going to this lifestyle. Now I'm going home with my wife full time and I had babies, and I went from nitro circus to changing baby poopy diapers.
Right.
Hard for me, man.
Yeah. So what did addiction look like for you?
Maniacal. I always tell the story, we're sick as our secrets, right? And I truthfully believe that. So I worked undercover.
Mm.
So that transitioned very well into the life of addiction, because now I could mask everything. I could hide behind it. Like my people around me are like, "Hey man, you struggling?" I say, "No, look at all these surgeries I've had. My doctor's prescribing this. I'm okay. It's legal addiction." Right. And so for me, I started spiraling down. I was taking a lot of opioids a day. I would start the morning with two. I was taking a lot of opioids,
Yeah.
and in the 10 years of my addiction, I lost my family, went through a divorce, transition, lost my home because of my wife's took it. Right, like the whole thing that you think about addiction, you're rock bottom. There's no such thing. You can give us a shovel and we'll keep digging as long as there's drugs.
Mm.
The biggest loss was a loss of my kids, loss of my wife, and a loss of relationship with my God, because you can't live this life of trying to serve God and use drugs.
Mm.
So for me, I alienated everybody from who I was, so they couldn't see the demise. I knew it was happening, so the alienation was huge.
Why does the addiction interfere with those relationships, both with people and with God? What's going on that's causing it to break down those relationships?
Yeah, shame, ego, pride. For me, those were the biggest things. My ego was so big, man. And I refused to let someone tell me, "Hey, Brock, you're addicted. You need help." I was so ashamed of who I'd become. I was ashamed of my divorce. I was ashamed of my actions that I was doing around addiction, the way I communicated with people. And I was embarrassed
Hmm.
that I lost my career and that I didn't know who I was and I felt like a loser. You know, all that shame plays in. It's Satan, man. Satan's just battling. It's a constant barrage of bullets that he's throwing at you, that you're not worthy of it, that you're just a piece of crap. So that's really, I wish there was something bigger behind it, but that was the big struggles that I was struggling with.
How bad did it get for you?
Oh man, I lost a relationship of 13 years, my 5 children, because of my addiction, because of actions that I mean, I actually had an affair with another woman one night for no reason.
Hmm.
And so like my actions of things that I would have done probably sober. I refuse, you just do things, you lose that, your inhibitions goes out the window.
Right.
And so it caused me to be a person that I really am not.
Hmm.
That was hard.
When did you reach a turning point? In fact, I've heard you tell this story. And
Yeah.
So tell me about the moment.
As people that are out there that are addicts understand this thought process where we never miss. We always have the drugs with us. We always plan for tomorrow because I don't want to wake up sick. I want to wake up being able to take that so I never fall into that withdrawal feeling. And so I always had my pills next to my bed. I had a water, and I would just, as soon as I got up, I'd reach over, grab it, take the water, and start my day. I would start my day high, going to bed high. And I remember this one morning, I don't know if I was robbed, if I had a weird night, I kicked the drugs off, but I couldn't find them. They weren't on my nightstand. Forced me to get out of bed, go into my bathroom. I opened up my medicine cabinet. There were all my pills placed. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I would take 2 pills out and I would write how many pills were on the bottom with a Sharpie. It was so perfectly placed. I'm like, man, I never realized how anal that was.
How organized. Yeah.
I took pills and then I shut the glass on the medicine cabinet, and it did 2 things for me. One, I saw myself face to face for the first time in about 10 years, and I hated who I was looking at. And it also gave me a glimpse into my room, into my life, of how destructive, how dirty and disgusting my room was. And I'm like, Brock, you're a crackhead, dude. You are exactly the person that you used to do search warrants on. I did so many door kicks on homes like that were just like nasty and dirty. Like, you are that. And so I got ticked off, man. I just got so angry in that moment. I opened the medicine cabinet, grabbed all my pill bottles, and then dumped them. And that right there was a moment of like, I'm in trouble. That was dumb. I tell people, if I would have had a scuba suit, I would have you know what I mean? I would have retrieved those things. But there was that moment of clarity saying, okay, Brock, you've made a commitment to God so many times that you're going to stop. Why not just make it this moment? Why not just do it? So I committed right there. I'm done. I'm not going to go refill. And I knew I couldn't refill because I just refilled, and it was and so I'm like, okay, I'm in it. I'm here doing this. So I started the bath water. I knew it was going to happen. Within a few hours, I started throwing up. I started just the withdrawals of opioids are ridiculous. The shakes, the freezing cold, the restless leg. The 2 weird things I had is I had one of my eyeballs were like, felt like it was going to bounce out of my head. And then I had a restless leg that just wouldn't stop. And it was immense pain. The throw up started happening. It was gnarly. But day 3, I had this like, okay, I'm going to negotiate with God right here. I'm going to say, okay, God, I get it. I've thrown up enough. I've defecated on myself. I'm in pain. I'm humble. I'm yours, And I said, okay, God, I made that deathbed confessional, if you just take me from this spot, if you just let me get out of this, I'm done. I'll never use it again. And I honestly, audibly heard him laugh at me. Him laugh and just say, son, if I let you out of this, all you're going to do is go get 1 pill and you're going to start the process. You just want to get out of pain. And I sit back. I'm like, oh my gosh, he knows me. He knows my thoughts, what I'm going through.
It sees right through you.
It sees right. And that's exactly, I'm like, I just want a pill so I get out of this pain. Because I know that that's the answer. So I'm like, okay, this guy is aware, he's present, he's here. So I'm like, I'm in it. So I stay in that bathroom for 7 days. Literally, I go down and get some water, try to get whatever I could eat, and I went back up. I didn't want to be away from the toilet. I didn't want to be away from the shower because the cold water, hot water felt really good on my body. And there was a point where I'm on all fours and I'm dry heaving so desperately that in my brain I'm like, Brock, you got to stop because your backbone is literally gonna come out of your mouth. Like it was
Yeah.
that vile, you know? And so on the seventh day, I when we talk about like that moment of surrender, I was broken. I went through the withdrawals. I went through the pain of it, and I'm laying in the shower. I'm just like looking up, saying, "Okay, God, I'm not negotiating with you. I know you're in charge. I know you're leading this, but I'm asking you, please, either take my life from this earth because I just can't. I can't. I have nothing more to give. Like
Yep.
I don't have any food. No, I just can't have nothing to throw up. There's nothing in my body, and I'm broken. Or just let me out of this. Let me get out and be who you want me to be. And I commit that I'll never use an opiate again." And it was the most interesting, powerful thing. I use the analogy of Hulk Hogan a lot because I'm a Hulk fan, and I love WWF growing up, and there was a moment where Hulk Hogan, they would the judge or referee would grab his arm and it would drop, and then he would grab it again and they would drop, and the third time he would like hold his hand in the air and start shaking it like his power's coming back into his body. And that's literally, honestly, chap, how it felt, man. Like this surge of power came back in my body, and I got up and I left that bathroom and never looked back. Like I'm 15 years sober. I've had neck surgery, bars put in my neck. I've had replacement shoulder. I've had carpal tunnel syndrome. I had so many surgeries, and I do it without opioids. And not because I'm the toughest guy on the block, but I made a commitment to him. I'm not using an opioid again.
Yeah.
And that's it.
How can you do that? There are people who just can't imagine because they deal with chronic pain.
Yeah.
That seems impossible. How do you manage the pain?
All I can say is first of all, I have a different disposition. I had that experience that leads me to know that I have a higher power that I can rely on. That's the facts. And then fear. I am so scared to use because I don't want to go back and have to detox again, because that was like life changing. And so I don't know. I do have a very I'm mentally there when it comes to pain. I know I think I've experienced a lot of the pain, so I know that I can handle it. And but for people living with chronic pain, God bless them, man. I understand that. That's just I don't know. I don't have an answer for them. I just know how it works for me.
It's not that it's easy. It's not that it's good. It's just that the alternative is worse.
I had shingles like last year this time, and it was in a very private spot on my body. Preparing for a marathon in Utah, I had sponsors pay $6,000 for me to go. So I'm training through this. I'm like putting Band-Aids and lidocaine and anything I could to kill the pain. But on day 46, I'm in my room. I'm on all fours in my bathroom, crying out to my wife, saying, I'm trying to get around to the other side of my bed to my credenza to grab my pistol and to take my life. That's how it felt. Like someone had a lighter to my private parts and was just burning me. Like it was worse pain than getting run over. And
wow.
Crazy, right? So I'm screaming to my wife, and I'm like, babe, I got to do something. I'm going to take my life. And she's like, look, we're going to go to the ER. And I'm like, ER? Oh my gosh, I've already gone to the doctor 4 times for this and they haven't done anything. So we get to the ER. I'm standing there. I can't sit down. They finally rush me back into a bed. The doctor says, hey, can I see it? And I open it up, and it has since exploded from the inside of my body and pushed out. The infection's like oozing out of my body. And I'm in like such excruciating pain. Like if you just touched me, I was through the roof. And the doctor pulls my wife aside and says, you got to get him to take some pills. The only way for this to heal is he's got to be able to relax and be out of pain. So my wife's coming in. The doctors are coming in saying, hey, this is going to be a very long process if you're not willing to take these pills. if you're not willing to like let your body, you got to relax a little bit to heal. And literally, I am like, I am not taking a pill. I don't care how much pain. I don't care what you have to do. I made a commitment 15 years ago that I'm not willing to break. People in addiction can and in recovery can say, I get that. I understand that.
You've lost a lot. Tell me what's been restored to you.
I literally lost everything. My 5 children are older now. They have their own experiences. They have their own husbands and children. And my biggest loss was a relationship with them. That was, I would say, the hardest. I'm still fighting. I mean, it's 15 years removed, and I'm still fighting for a relationship with them. I'm still fighting for space in their lives because they don't need dad. They gotta want dad, right? They gotta want that time with me. So that was hard. That was restorative. That it's not where it needs to be, but we're still working on it. I'm on my 3rd marriage because of it, because of addiction and decisions that I've made through addiction. But what's crazy is the money comes back, the cars come back, the home comes back, the relationships come back, but it's an effort, right? I always say there's 2 things you have to do: it's time and consistency. You have to prove time, right? You have to do it over and over and over again. And then you have to be consistent. You have to show up. You have to be there. You have to be reliable. And those are 2 words that I share always in recovery that is so, and that's like your relationship with God, right? Over time and being consistent, you can develop that relationship with Him, where it's a relationship.
Tell me about your relationship to law enforcement.
So currently I work in the law enforcement field. I work as a health and wellness coach at the 5th largest county in the nation. And it's broken down kind of into 3 phases. So I work with the sheriff's department, I work with the correctional officers, and then the civilians who are doing the police work. And that's kind of a unique situation where it used to be all sworn. Now they're bringing like crime lab, crime techs, CSI
Right.
now come into the civilian space, and they're being traumatized without the backing of a badge.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a definite dichotomy there. And so that's kind of been the cool thing is I got to take my last 15 years of experience, sobriety, working with police officers, working with first responders and military personnel who have struggled with addiction, struggled with post-traumatic stress. And I got to bring all that into an agency in the health and wellness department to work one-on-one with men and women to help them navigate addiction and navigate these stressors. And so for me, it's an amazing thing.
How do you handle it when someone finds out about the addiction part of your story and raises an eyebrow? It's like, why do we let this guy in here?
I actually think that's why I got hired. I do. I believe that's a superpower of mine. I mean, if people look online and see what we do and the messages that we're promoting, I'm not an addict. I even would say I don't think I ever was an addict. I was just lost in addiction. But the stigma tells me that I have to say, hey, I'm Brock, I'm an addict, I'm 15 years sober, I don't have a need to use today or a need or a desire, right? But I don't think I was ever addicted to it. I mean, in the sense I was addicted to it, but I'm not an addict. If you caught me walking through,
It wasn't your identity.
Wasn't my identity. You wouldn't look at me and say, "Oh, that guy's an addict." You would not think that. I was lost in it. I didn't know how to get out of it. But I do believe that was. I mean, I've talked about it with my boss. She knows about my addiction. She's okay with my addiction. I mean, it's been 15 years too,
Yeah.
right? But the experiences that we get to bring into the workplace is, I mean, how many people do you know that were sworn cops, used to arrest guys for addictions, right? Who fell into active addiction, who are now sober, back working with cops. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of a full restoration, right? A full circle movement, and we have a lot to offer. I feel like I do have a lot to offer personally, just with my story and what I've gone through. There's that empathy that I can give to other people.
Okay, what does the phrase mean, you're only as sick as your secrets?
Yeah, I feel like for the longest time I had a monster under my bed. And as long as I pacified it and fed it and agreed with it and just left it there, it would grow, but it never came out. I just kept it there, and it was a secret of mine. When I finally reached under that bed and pulled that sucker out and identified it as addiction, I was no longer stuck to it. I was no longer sick to it. It was no longer a secret. When I came out and started having these conversations with people and say, listen, if you want to call me an addict, if that's what you need to hear, I'm an addict. I went through 10 years of active addiction. That was my secret. It's no longer killing me. It's no longer allowing me to bleed all over you because of my addiction, right? These are secrets and that you now know. And so that's one of the big things about a trigger is when you have it, you tell somebody, you make that phone call. Hey babe, I just had this weirdest trigger. You know, Shrek said it best, better out than in, right? If I'm telling you my secrets, I'm not sick anymore, man. You know that I'm an addict. You know my struggles. You know how to help me. And so I feel like that's just groundbreaking.
Why do cops keep their secrets?
It's traditional, man. It's a culture that we have. Who am I going to tell? Like, who would I have told that I was struggling with addiction? Really, I can't go to my sergeant because now he's going to do a fit for duty on me. I can't go to a peer because he now has an obligation to go tell somebody. So I mean, the comments that you hear, hey, suck it up, go rub some dirt on it. You signed up for this job, right? All these things that we say to one another when we have these critical scenes. And how come we can't say, hey man, what are you feeling? That was a crazy scene that we saw last night. Can we talk about it? But we don't do that because it's a cultural, we wear a badge, we are strong and can handle it until we're sick as our secrets.
Brock, thank you for coming in today. That was fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to thank Brock for coming on the show. He's living with a kind of transparency that most people find incredibly difficult, at least until they have lost everything. It would seem that that's when it no longer has any power over you. But actually, your secrets lose their power when they stop being secrets. And here is the hidden value in having confidants, counselors, mentors. People who can look into your life and see everything transparently and can call you out, keep you accountable, set you free. I believe that nothing stays hidden forever. Things that are really good, things that are really bad, they all come out eventually. And so get ahead of it. Talk to someone you can trust and start tackling this problem. On the next episode of Hey Chaplain.
Because we are so judgmental, we are so cliquish, and we are so sarcastic, and we get cynical. But when we're infighting, I feel like that's one of the most frustrating things for policing in my purview right now, because we can't control the external. Like, I can't control what the media does, but we should be able to control how we treat each other. Like in the hallways, to folks going to a call, are you immediately disparaging this homeless person? Or are you approaching the call professionally, right? So it's empathy outside, it's empathy inside as well.
The views expressed here are the personal views of the host and our guest and do not necessarily represent the views of any law enforcement agency or its components. If you like this episode, please share it with a cop or someone who loves a cop. Thank you for listening to Hey Chaplain. And as always, let's pray for peace in our city.